100 hours in Dragonkin and I have a confession. The final boss of the campaign is still waiting for me. In part 1 I called the story a tutorial, but I realized I was looking at the wrong thing. The story isn't the tutorial, it's the backdrop for one of the most addictive character building systems I've encountered this year. But the question remains, can a $15 indie title actually provide this level of technical depth? After pushing through the highest tiers of Apocalypse difficulty, I found out the answer is a definitive yes. Even if the experience has some scars along the way. Today, I'm sharing what this journey actually looks like. From the frictionless loop that respects your time, to the recent update on the Summoner Ghost, and the Sandbox mindset that changes how you view the entire endgame. By the end of this video, you'll know if this is a permanent home for your next theorycraft, or just a weekend distraction. The reason I was able to get so lost in the math is that the game actually stays out of its own way. In part 2, I mentioned my skepticism about whether we'd see a battle pass or a cosmetic shop appear at launch. After my deep dive, I can tell you the store tab is non-existent. It's a standalone, complete title. A rarity in 2026. It feels like a return to form for the genre. No seasonal fluff, no predator shops. Whether you're playing solo, hosting friends, or sitting on the couch for local co-op, you own the experience. Because it functions locally, you aren't at the mercy of server queues. If your connection drops, your session continues. While the price varies by region and platform, the core value is universal. You aren't paying for a service, you're paying for a finished product. That philosophy carries into the loop. The chores that usually pad out ARPGs are mostly absent. There are no repair costs to drain your gold, and the town layouts are built for a quick theorycrafting rather than forcing you to walk between vendors. Now, let's be objective. You'll still encounter some long walks during quests and a few activities that feel like a filler, but the core system clearly prioritizes your time in the grid over busy work. It removes enough friction that sinking all this time into felt surprisingly effortless. Respecting your time isn't just about avoiding chores. It's about how that time scales across your entire account. While we looked at Master Fragments in part 2, the real MVP of this experience is the city leveling system. Much like the shared Paragon levels in Diablo 4, your main character's success and multi-scale directly fuels your alts. Because city upgrades and talent trees are global, starting a knight on an oracle doesn't feel like a reset, it feels like a new game plus. The game handled this through a logical split in your inventory. Personal stash for your character, specific gear and a shared stash for the fragments and materials you want to pass down. It encourages experimentation without the penalty of starting from zero. While I played this run exclusively solo, the system is designed to carry this progress into the multiplayer session as well, though the exact scaling of those bonuses in a group remains for a point further testing. By making character development a city-wide effort, the game successfully bridges the gap between different classes. In fact, this account-wide synergy just got a significant overhaul in the latest patch. Now once any character earns Ancestor XP, those Ancestors are unlocked for everyone. It removes the last bit of friction from the alt leveling process and confirms that this is the hands down the most alt-friendly system I've played this year. Now, no launch is perfect, and this one has its share of its friction. In earlier versions the campaign fell short, but the developers have since then expanded the journey. Truthfully, I still haven't seen the final credits. Not because the story is lacking, but because the character building is so magnetic, it keeps me pulling back. That said, you will run into some technical scars. I've encountered the occasional invisible wall or vanishing minimap, and a certain champion tags like the health regenerating Avenger can feel like a brick wall in higher tiers. But seeing how quickly the team is ironing these out is a pivotal green flag. In fact, while I was putting the video together, a substantial stability patch dropped to address exactly what I was prepared to critique, the Summoner's Ghost. Previously, Summoners were unreliable for the endgame. Now with improved reactability and the movement speed, the groundwork for viable Summoner build is out there. I haven't stress tested it yet, the new AI, but it's enough to make me want to pivot my next project towards a Summoner Knight to see if the logic actually holds up. Expect more on that soon. However, we have to talk about the melee tags. Currently, taking a barbarian into the apocalypse tier is objectively harder than the projectile or dot meta. You are often working twice as hard to achieve the same results as an off-screen kiter. For some, that's a balance issue. For me, that's the challenge. Finding a way to make a melee build viable against the odds is where the real fun sits. It's why I came up with my Thorns-Ice build, to prove that while the path is steeper, the logic is still there. Just keep an eye out on those tooltips, the devs are fixing them fast, but a complete grid will always have its quirks. This is where the logic finally connects. In the intro, I mentioned Sandbox mindset that changes how you view this experience. For me, the Ancestral Grid isn't just a skill tree, it is the actual game. The dungeons, the bosses, and the loot, those are just the testing grounds to see if my math holds up. I don't run maps to find gear. I run them to see if my latest grid optimization actually holds up under pressure. That mindset is why I've enjoyed this journey. In a genre where progression often feels like chasing 1% stat increase, Dragonkin offers something unique. A fundamental shift in how your hero functions. Moving a single fragment can be the difference between a glass cannon and a self-sustaining engine. It's a masterpiece of theory crafting that rewards curiosity over following a guide. If you share this mindset, this game is an incredible sandbox. I've even started uncovering high-tier items that break the standard scaling logic entirely. But that level of customization deserves its own pace. We'll be breaking down the Memorialist and the Artificer's secrets in my next video, Customize Anything Deep Dive. So what is the final word on Dragonkin? It isn't trying to be the next Diablo 4 or last Epoch, and truly it doesn't need to be. It's a standalone sandbox for player who loves to tinker and solve puzzles. But it's also more than just a solo math problem. It's a great way to grab a partner for some couch co-op. If you're looking for a cinematic epic, you might find it thin. But if you're here for the math and the camaraderie, it's a masterpiece of character depth. The review chapter of this journey is officially closed. I'm no longer weighting pros and cons. I'm confident this game is worth your time and deserves a chance. Now that the verdict is out of the picture, we can finally focus on the real work. My Build Anything guide was just the foundation. Next week, we're moving into the Customize Anything deep dive. We are answering your questions about the Memorialist, the Ornamentalist, and how the Artificer mechanics actually function. On a personal note, I actually skipped my planned Gorilla Thorns test for Diablo Season 12 because I was having too much fun here. That doesn't mean the Diablo 4 content is over. Lot of Hatred is right around the corner and we'll be here for the data. But this little indie title was the one that finally inspired me to pick up a mic and share my logic with you all. The review is done, Barbarian is still swinging, now let's get the deep dives. Chewiebro out!